Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, there's a whole case going on in Scotland, in Edinburgh, the case of Sandy Peggy. She's the nurse who refused to bend the knee to trans ideologies, really. She did not want to get dressed or get undressed in front of a man. And you got the doctor who likes to call himself a woman but is not, who insists that he has the right to undress in front of women and to watch them as they undress. And of course, she was then basically, how can we put it, disciplined by the NHS, so hospital. She's now taken them to an employment tribunal. And of course, subsequently, from the start of that tribunal to now, you've had the court, the Supreme Court come through with its designation of women being biological women. That's it. And how these things have to be applied. And indeed, the irony now is that within Holyrood, men are not permitted to use the female toilets, even if these men are wearing dresses. That's where they're at. But this is a problem that's been known about prior to the beginning of this referendum, which is now dead in the water. I mean, the problem the referendum's got now is if it fines for Nurse Peggy, then the whole of the NHS can get sued, because currently there is not one single female-only facility in the whole of the NHS in Scotland. And so they open themselves up for a class action. If they find themselves for the case of Dr. Beth, not his real name, Upton, then they're breaking the law. And so they've got this problem, haven't they? Either way, it's going to result with the NHS getting taken to court, either for a civil case or a criminal case. Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Well, the NHS asked the government to deal with this prior to the beginning of this this tribunal, and they decided not to. And the tribunal had been running for several weeks before the government then said, can't we sort this out, without going any further? Let's do a non-sort of hearing thing. Let's have a private discussion about this and sort it out. And this was declined. And so this tribunal's gone on. Now, it's currently in abeyance, and it will come back reform. No, not Reform UK, just the tribunal will recoalesce back together in July. Now, of course, in the interim, all these things are going on, and the decision's got to be made. And it's all been a complete and utter, and I do mean this pun entirely, of course, it's been a complete cock-up, hasn't it? They have really screwed the pooch on this one, because it's such a thing that they should never have been in the position in the first place. And they're saying, oh, well, no, but the law's changed. Blah, blah. And this is the line they're spinning, that the law has changed because of the Supreme Court. No, this is the really weird thing. The law has not changed. There's no new law. The law is this. And what the Supreme Court was saying is they were explaining what the law is. They haven't changed the law. And so for all this time, the NHS has been breaking the law by allowing men into women's facilities, and also breaking the 1992 Act by not providing single-sex only spaces. This has other repercussions, because it's not just this case. It's not just women who want to use, men who want to use women's facilities. This is also the case for single-sex wards, because sometimes men in dresses, men in frocks, want to use the ladies' ward. And we've had cases where there's been rapes, and where the NHS have covered up and hidden the fact that there's been a rape. Because they said, oh, there's no men on this ward. Because even though there is a man, he's a man who pretends to be a woman. And so they've gone along with that, and they said it can't possibly have been a rape because there's only women on the ward. Well, now that is in deep, deep trouble, because they're going to have to go back and look at this again. Because, again, that Supreme Court ruling means that not a new law, the existing law that was in operation at the time, now means that all those who covered up that attack are now liable. And here's the great thing, equally liable for the crime. Guilty after the fact. They can get prosecuted for the same crime and go to prison for the same time as the person who did the attack. That's now being pushed to be reopened and reinvestigated, which means that the nurses, the ward sister, the management are all guilty because they covered that up. I'm thinking, nervous, ain't I? Twitch, twitch. Meanwhile, Beth, not Sandy Peggy, what did I say? Beth Upton, this pretendy man, woman thing doctor, can't win the case. And even if he does win the case, he won't be allowed to use the ladies' toilets anyway. So what's going on? Why are they just not going, I tell you what, let's stop this now. What you need is Graham Chapman to walk in a full major's or full colonel's uniform, like he does, and go, right, that's it, that's enough of this silliness now, stop it. Because that's exactly what's got to happen. They've got to stop it, and they've got to kill it now. They've got to pay up, give Sandy Peggy whatever money they feel is sufficient to placate her, and tell Beth Upton, find somewhere else to work. Find another job. Because if you go into a woman's toilets again, you're fired as a doctor, and you'll be stripped. You can never practice as a doctor again. Because it's sexual abuse. Good result. It's an interesting lot because they've done this to themselves. This could have been stopped day one. And they decided to stir the pot and push constantly, because they have this need, don't they? Need to push this thing because the blessed Leaderine Sturgeon said, no, men can be pretending to be women. We must all agree that this madness is real. And that's how they got themselves in there. Nobody dared gainsay the nip. Well, the nip is wrong. And she hates it, and she won't apologise for it. She can't accept it. It's got a wee sour face like a dog's puckered arse, hasn't it? Like that, she is. But documents have been released. These documents have been released through FOIs, show that the Chief People Officer for NHS Scotland, who works within the Director of Health Workforce for the Scottish Government, emailed NHS Fife on Monday, February the 24th this year, saying requests for sight and advice on the prospects in the ET case. This is I don't know what ET stands for. You can work it out yourself. Extra testicle. I don't know. But there we go. Basically, they want it would be helpful to clarify in the response what attempts have been made by NHS Fife to identify alternative means to the resolution of the case. ET, Employment Tribunal. That'll be what it is. And so they've said in advance of that they wanted this sorted, and nobody bothered. You get what you deserve, don't you? Well done to Sandy Peggy. She's already won the case. Can't lose now. Cannot lose. The law's on her side. And they all know it. And they're all going through this stupid thing of, well, we better finish it now. We've started, so we'll finish. Let's just make ourselves look completely foolish. Good luck. Anyway, there we go. Thanks very much. If you have any ideas on this, let me know. Till next time, stay safe, stay well. Goodbye.